All right, and welcome to the Best in Slot podcast, a Warcraft podcast by the community for the community. I'm your main host, Sparty Smallwood, and my co-host Midgettes here as well. This is episode 9, and today we'll be talking about Winter Veil, the Season of Giving, and things you can do to build your own guild and community. With the upcoming holidays, the streets of Azeroth are quieter, and a really nice time to think about things you can do with your family in-game, and of course those of us that are spending time, doing things outside of game, right? I mean, I don't know, it's one of my favorite holidays by far. What about you, Midgets?
Happy Winter Veil, everybody. It's one of my favorite holidays, and we know it's yours, Sparty, because your garrison is Christmas year-round, or Winter Veil year-round.
That's right. Whenever we do garrison stuff, or whenever we're doing guild stuff, back in my garrison, people are saying, hey, why are your Christmas decorations or Winter Veil decorations still up? And, well, it's the best holiday season, right? It's, snowmen, and did I tell you my snowman joke?
No, what is your snowman joke?
The snowman joke is hilarious. I heard it at a Christmas party last night. So why did the snowman have a smile on his face?
Why, Sparty?
Because he saw the snowblower was coming.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So with that, let's start off with what's new in the community. So what's sort of new here? What is going on in our Warcraft community these days?
Well, I had to do a little bit of digging because it's pretty quiet out there. Everybody's busy with real life and Christmas. I know I was out searching for a specific purple dog toy for my son's puppy, or what, as I fondly call the grand puppy. But we do have a few things going on. Apparently you were on the Starting Zone podcast last night. How did that go?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, Starting Zone, those guys are an inspiration, right? Spencer and Jason, and used to be Mick Montgomery. They're an inspiration really to me and this podcast. Super humbled to be on their show. They're great guys, great content, great production qualities. It was awesome. It was a good podcast, very great Winter Veil themed. Even I learned a few things about, Winter Veil and Hodier, and we talked about some really good stuff there. So for those of you that haven't checked out the Starting Zone, those guys are really the World of Warcraft podcast, and we aspire to do great things like those guys. But yeah, no, they're awesome, and it was a great time to be on their show last night.
Well, I think the best thing I got out of that was you told me that they were even more last minute than you were, and I didn't know that was possible.
Well, we've all been really busy the last week of work and trying to get things done. So we got the show notes, a couple hours before, and we winged it. We were fine. We're all professionals, right? Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, more or less.
They're great guys, and it's an awesome podcast. So if you haven't seen it, be sure to look at it. And I'm going to go and see how you did today or yesterday. Good. It was last night, right?
Yeah, it was last night.
All right. Well, I did notice that the Dear Grandfather Winter forum post was up. And as you know, Midgettes goes every year and asks for a baby blizzard bear.
I know.
Great. I must be bad because I still haven't gotten one. Did you ask Great Father Winter for anything?
I don't know. I mean, do I really need anything? Because that was one of the questions on the podcast last night too. What do you want from Great Father Winter? What are your wishes for this Winter Veil season? And really, I don't really need anything in game. Upgrades are always nice. Titan Forging is always fantastic. I did get a Pantheon trinket recently, which is awesome. But really, I just, I want a better community. I want people to, continue paying it forward. And that's what I mentioned last night. It's just no specific items, just, pay it forward, be a good person to each other, and, be excellent to each other. What about you?
I know.
Besides the Blizzard Bear.
I was, well, of course, my baby Blizzard Bear. Well, I have to say on the Pantheon trinket, I was very sad you got it like 3 minutes before I did. I wanted to beat you. That was my goal.
Not this time.
I know, and it made me very sad. But other than that, we're so blessed. We have a great community, and we have so many wonderful people that we deal with every day. And I really enjoy, like last night, I ran home and we jumped into raid, and it was a great fun night. And so I can't ask for much, and the baby Blizzard Bear will always be my little token Midgettes really wants. But from Blizzard to the community they've created to where we are now, I think we're blessed.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. There's some things on the PTR now, right? They're testing the potential new battlegrounds soon, and then we have zone leveling.
Right. Blizzard actually put out a specific request on the forums for people to join up on the PTR and help to level a character and to test how the zone leveling is working. And they're asking for people who actually have done it. And I know most of us are sort of like, oh, I don't know. I sort of like those boosts to the next level, but go back and test the old world.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put out a special request, and I thought it was something that we could maybe, as a community, maybe download the PTR and level another gnome. We need more gnomes in the world.
Well, or you could try, something new and interesting, and try, a fun storyline and quest. I mean, but yeah, it's a little bit of an effort to get on the PTR, but it's worth it, right? Those are the times where your feedback does make a difference, right? There's not enough people going out on the PTR, and myself included. We just need to make the time. There's no such thing as I don't have the time. We'll need to make the time to make that difference if it is important to you, right? Rather than complaining down the line that, hey, this is unbalanced, it wasn't tested well. Where were you trying to help test it, right? But yeah, no, the PTR does need help testing, and feedback is always appreciated by the Warcraft devs.
Well, and whenever they put out a call to action for that, it's the least we can do. I mean, honestly, they do so much for us every day. We have a game that has lasted longer than any MMO out there, and that's due to the community that Blizzard created. Mm-hmm. So when we can help and you have some extra time, jump on and level a tune.
Absolutely. All right, so that takes us to our next little segment, the Tales from the Front, Warcraft-related stories. The biggest one right now is the Ice Crown Challenge, right? We mentioned that on our podcast last time. It's for the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. For those of you who don't know how it works, we're going to do one actually after this because I haven't done it yet. So you complete Ice Crown with, killing all the bosses, killing Lich King, Sindragosa from start to finish. And whatever time you make, so let's say you finish in 20 minutes and 30 seconds, well, then you would donate $20.30 to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And that's all through, I think the Twitter account Warcraft Cares has all information on all the charity events. So that's something we're going to be doing. I mean, have you done yours yet?
I have not. But now that I have acquired purple, that was my big focus. Mm-hmm. I'm planning on getting it out, and I'm going to add some challenges. I'm just going to start tagging people. So I can tell you right now, your favorite mages are probably on my target list, and Towley too. Very good. Yes, we want to help get them out there. They've got about $800 so far, and I want to try to beat our goal or their goal from last year of $4,600. So
wow, that was a big one.
Yeah, it was a big one. And I hope to see more of our community out there slaying all of the bosses in Ice Crown.
Well, it's great, too, because, that good karma always does pay off, right? You never know. An Invincible may drop if you can see it, after all.
Well, I think because you're planning on going in as gnomes that you have a better chance, because gnomes have better luck. But I will tell you, and you can ask Towley because he was grumping about it today, I suggest that you should bring Aelid along. Because he has incredible luck when it comes to legendaries and mounts. So you just bring him along and you probably have the mount drop.
Of course. Has Towley done it yet?
He has not, so I think we should challenge him.
I think we should definitely do it after this stream or after this podcast and challenge Towley. So the way it works, guys, is you do your Ice Crown Challenge, similar to the years ago we did the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and everything else, and you challenge somebody else to do it, and that way it continues to build and snowball into a much larger thing. So yes, we'll do it right after this, and hopefully we'll have some, quite a few viewers participating, and we'll do all in gnomes, right? And I'll be doing some giveaways during and right after that Ice Crown Challenge, so it'll be a good one.
It's going to be fun just because there's gnomes.
Sure. But it is the fourth one, right? So this is the fourth challenge that Arcane Ratzel has put together, well prior to her being employed by Blizzard. And now she continues doing these amazing charity events. But yeah, aside from that, we do have some fun things we've done for the guild. So every year I've typically done Christmas cards or packages, or we've done, Secret Santa stuff. This year specifically, to all my Death Jesters full members and some past officers and a lot of core players, I sent out these personalized Death Jesters mugs, as well as a nice little Christmas card from myself. So, it was a bit of an endeavor, right? Because it was just a pain in the butt trying to get these things shipped. And, I was sending one to Singapore and, another one all over the place, some across Canada. It was a pain in the butt. But I sent the Christmas cards to you, and then I know you took care of the shipping to most of the continental U.S. ones.
Yes, we got those all out. because your next day shipment from Canada
Oh
didn't
my
make it for
God.
like a week.
Don't even get me started on shipping. Guaranteed next day, shows up 4 days later. Yeah, I mean,
But
I
we
get it.
got those
It's
out
busy,
on
right?
we got those out on Monday, and a special thanks to the elves at my office who helped me get those out the door. And most everybody should get them before Christmas. There were only a cute couple of farther locations. Colorado's sort of in the center
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to shipping that won't get them until after Christmas, but most everybody should have. So Merry Christmas and Happy Winter Veil from all of us here.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for all your help with that, and your little worker elves at your work and UPS for getting everything out. But the other stuff we've done typically every year as well is Secret Santa, right? Death Jesters, when it was just the one guild, we did Secret Santa. We varied who would do it and that kind of stuff, and it was good. It was a good little thing where you would see who you would randomize who gets what, or who gets each person, and you'd look up to see what that person needs, right? So if that person is a huge pet collector, maybe you would go out of your way to to find that special pet they couldn't get yet. Maybe something off the Blizzard store or from the auction house. Same thing with mounts, right? Or you do something a little bit more creative, right? If it's they're a cooking guild, or if they're let's say one of the Zeros to Heroes teams, Nomi's line cooks, and they like to cook stuff. Maybe you send them some of Nomi's burnt food as a little fun gift, as well as some other things. But I mean, I don't know. How does Secret Santa work? Am I supposed to know who gets it, or?
Well, no, we have now the Secret Santa and the not so Secret
And
Santa going.
that's okay. I mean, it's one of each. It's a little bit of a change, but it's all in the spirit of giving and family. So it's all it's all in good fun.
Well, and I have to tell you, because I am generally the Secret Santa for Death Jesters and have done
Yep.
that for the last 3 years, maybe
2-3
4 years.
Yeah. There was really that long?
And
You've been here that long?
I've been here that long. And I have a lot of fun with it because I get to see, and for Death Jesters, you guys are all going to have to just wonder who your Secret Santa is, because I'm not going to give that information up. But I get to see the thought process and the work that they put up behind it. And there's always one or two that are some of my favorites. So like last year, Firemancer's Secret Santa. He was having trouble, I believe, seeing or standing in green fell. And so they got him some designer glasses so perhaps he could see that fell better. And it was in good fun, and it was just such a thoughtful gift. And those are the things that make the season fun for me. How about you, Sparty? What are some of the best ones you've seen?
I don't know. I think for me, the ones that I've really touched home are the ones where you sometimes share, where look at what your guild member did to to another, where it was this really caring and thoughtful message, and how creative it was. Some of them have done poems, other ones have done screenshots, other ones, to one of our officers, she loves puggles, so it was a puggle collage built in specifically for her, as well as some items in game. Yeah, I mean, it's that caring stuff where, okay, I've built an awesome community and the people are amazing, and look at what we've done, right? It's such a great feeling. So there's no specific one that I've liked, but the last few over the years have been really tremendously special.
And memorable. I think the
Oh, for
biggest
sure.
challenge we've run into, especially as we've grown, is the mail cap.
Yeah.
And although I understand why we had to do it, is because we have some people who like to troll with mail and do bad things. And unfortunately, during Winter Veil, or when you're trying to do events like this, you run into where you can only mail 20
Mm-hmm.
unique accounts. So it gets limiting. I wish Blizzard would come up with a way to say, hey, you're not a jerk and you can mail more than 20 unique items, or we're going to be nice for Winter Veil and lift that cap so that, we're not scrambling to try to get gifts out the door.
Yeah, so the cap is what, 20 unique pieces of mail in an hour. I think if that cap was removed for within the guild, that'd be great. So, in a community like ours where we have Death Jesters and Zeros to Heroes, if somebody from Zeros to Heroes is mailing something out, well, all the Zeros to Heroes mails are technically free, like free Amazon shipping, and the ones going to the other guild, are part of that 20 cap, right? And that sort of removes the trolling aspect, or the potential for trolling from it. So that might be a suggestion we have to send off to Warcraft devs.
Definitely have to suggest it. And, I know within our own community, we have zero tolerance for trolls. Let the smaller community take care of it themselves. I think
Yep.
in guild would be wonderful. But I think that does open us up to having some great conversation of what you want to build a community. You want to have something like ours. I'm proud of our community. I think we have one of the best communities in Warcraft because we have great people. And we try to do everything, as many things with as many people as possible. So if we were going to do one gift to the Warcraft community, maybe share some of our ideas.
Oh, for sure. And that sort of takes us to our next little segment here, which is the keys to killer rating advice, or really guild advice from the experts. A lot of what we do and a lot of the philosophy behind running these guilds has been, what's best for the community. And I've constantly gone over the coaches' corners and people's questions of, when somebody has an issue with something, well, what is best for your guild? Not necessarily what you want or what the players want, but what is going to be best for your guild in terms of the overall health, whether it's loot distribution or whatever. But in the same sense, how do you do things that are better for your community, right? Because we do know there's people behind those screens and there's feelings and all that stuff is careful. You do have to tread carefully, when you're giving raid criticism or you're making adjustments through your guild. But when you build that leadership team, right? I've always been of the mindset that your officers and your leadership should be an extension of yourself, right? Those are the players that are going to, share the same values that you have, as well as they're going to fill those gaps and those flaws that you have in yourself as a leader and make your leadership team overall much better. So finding those people, it does take time. Typically when I'm grooming a new officer or a veteran, it takes a good 6 months of effort of getting them right in the right place and making sure they're asking the right questions and making sure they're the right person for that specific role. But that's how you have to start off, right? We mentioned in our podcast last night too. It's finding those like-minded people, and that's really the toughest part of building a community, building a guild. That recruitment aspect of, it could just be players, right? Those raid team players, but it's players that share the same attitudes, right? I can teach anybody to mash their buttons, do Warcraft logs, do all that stuff, but it's very difficult to teach someone to have a good attitude, right? And those kinds of things aren't changed in a short time or even in a long time as well. Yeah, go ahead. I saw you about to speak.
Well, one of the things, and we've worked together we're working on 5 years now.
Wow.
I know. And I found you, the funniest story about that is how I found you, because somebody wanted me to see how you were being Sparty in raid, I guess is the best way. And from there, the rest is history. But look at the people who have come, and you watch you talk about it. If you build it, it will come. And we have every night, 75, 100 members on one guild and another 50 on the other every night, and interacting, and it's not perfect. There's a lot of things I'm sure we could do better, and when we ask, there's always great suggestions. But we have some great people that have been around for a long time, and that they really care about the guild, and they really give back to the guild, and we couldn't do it without them.
No, that's 100% right. You look at your support systems, the veterans, the officers, those are the ones that really make the difference, right? And again, I was sharing with last night's podcast, like, oh yeah, how's Midgettes? I'm like, yeah, well, she's the one that does all the work, right? I woke up this morning and there's this massive notes of what we're doing on our podcast. And I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. We're going to make a couple, adjustments here. And it's perfect, right? Like it's such a great set of content, and it's those people that make a huge difference, right? Those people that are helping in, doing those secret Santas, doing fun little activities, doing RBGs, doing dungeons, doing those fun little events. Those are the ones that really make a difference, and those guys should get the credit. But you've built that community, right? And those numbers that you're saying, the 75, when in Zeros to Heroes online every night, 50 DJs. That's pretty awesome, right? I didn't even think about that. We have that many online sometimes in the community, and we've had even more between both guilds, and that's amazing that many people we're affecting from this community, right? And we've had a lot of really fun events, over the years, and I can't believe you've been here for 5 years now. From me yelling at people and warlocks on Lei Shen to here we are now doing all this community stuff. So it's
you and your warlocks. I always feel sorry for the warlocks, but I think it's mages now.
Well, I don't know. It's all the jackalope season.
It's just the range DPS. That's all there is to it. Well,
Well,
but we've had some great events. So
yeah.
if you were going to have some team building events, what are some of the things that we do? I know, and I couldn't remember what it was called to put it on the list, but I know we've done the battlegrounds with the teams, and those have been fun. So
Those are
let's
good.
talk about some of the things that we do to get to know each other and build the community. And it's a lot more challenging with more people, so that everybody gets to share in the fun.
For sure. I mean, I think one of the biggest ones that stand out is Guild Survivor, right? We started this off years ago during the content drought of, I don't know, Mists of Pandaria, right? During Siege of Orgrimmar. The
Right,
first round
Siege.
of, yeah, Guild Survivor. And it was a blast. I love doing it. I'm a huge Survivor fan. I finally finished watching this season. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but it was a very, very good finale. So we've done Guild Survivor, which is always a really fun one where we compete, two different guilds and then we merge them into tribes and they do fun little events in game. And I know like from a raider's perspective, and if I was, thinking about this 5-6 years ago, I'm like, oh, that's the cheesy crap the little RP guilds do. But when you actually do this stuff, it's actually really fun. We had a Halloween event this Halloween or Hallows End, whatever. And one of the most surprisingly fun challenges was we were all sitting in my garrison eating candy, and it was the first one to throw up, from each round would be out. And that was actually the most hilarious one we've done. And it's those little fun things that make such a difference and leave such a lasting memory.
Chew until you spew is what it
Yes,
was called.
that's right.
And that
Chew
was
until you
an
spew.
incredibly creative name from Jaded. The funny thing about Guild Survivor is when I first presented it to you, you were like, yeah, I want to do that. It took me 4-5 times of, I really want to do this, Sparty, before you went, this is a good idea. And then the hours of brainstorming that
Oh
came
my God.
from it. But those they were wonderful events and well received and a lot of fun. And it brings out the competitive nature in your raiders. I have never seen a group of people do Survivor things like I did this, and they were undermining each other and making supposed friends, and it was great. Don't forget, we also have Mafia.
Yeah, I mean, we've done, for those of you Mafia or Town of Salem, we've done that on our forums quite a bit, and we've had some really, really huge success with that one. We did, I don't know, 25 plus rounds of Mafia over the past couple of years, and I mean, we'll do it again as we finish off this content. Ariana's been really good, doing some voiceovers or some really themed, themed Legion things, but it's been great. I mean, we've done, I don't know, Secret Santas like now. We've done holiday cards. So again, like I mentioned, we send out Christmas cards or holiday cards to our players. So I get their addresses. I mail out all these cards. Sometimes it's a special little message on the back of a card. Just something personalized because that touch can often be lost. So knowing that you're still fairly attached to your players makes a big difference in everybody's life. I know I got a couple of really nice messages from my guildies already that they have received my card and they have received the mug, and they're really appreciative for it. We've done a lot of mini challenges too, right? A lot of these little like dazzling wands, which is always an iconic challenge, or the foam swords. Fun little things like that make a huge difference, right? They seem like that cheesy crap that RP guilds do, but doing something different other than raiding, right, is a nice little break, and people will actually surprisingly like those kinds of things. So that's my suggestion to a lot of those guilds here. Try something new, try something that seems really cheesy, like a scavenger hunt or whatever, and they're actually really fun to partake in. I mean, it takes quite a bit of work, but they're great, and I've loved doing them.
Yeah, they've been a lot of fun, and everybody was mentioning that my cat is hungry. It's wintertime and he's starving, but everybody meet Oliver. But the one thing that I think was missing is it used to be before the days of server transfers that you sort of were, the servers were also your community. So how do we reach out and grow that?
Well, yeah, I mean, those were the days, right? Those were the days of, no transfers and everybody knew you for your reputation, and you really had built that reputation. But those reputations, I think, still have a firm, foothold where we are right now. With these building reputations, it's reaching out to those other guilds. It's being known for, being a great community guild, or being known for a guild of trolls and, those kinds of things. We did things like DJ, our World Dragon Monopoly, where we killed all those green dragons back in the day. And that was a fun little event too. We had some awesome stories of banding together as guilds and killing a world boss together. Even though one guild could get loot, right? It was one raid team that would get loot. We would help each other get that kill because that's the kind of guilds we were, right? It made it easier for the other guild. Yeah, the 40 of us weren't getting loot, but, probably next time we would build that relationship and cultivate and foster those good relationships, and it would go a long way. So, we had some really good stories from then. But, I mean, how do we build those things in-game now? Well, a lot of them are really prevalent already. So, for instance, if you guys ever go into an LFR or you're doing an invasion and somebody says, hey, does anybody need this? Please roll. That is a prime example of building that community, right? That is a prime example of, hey, I'm going to be a nice person to somebody else. I don't need this loot. It's going to be vendor disenchanted. Let's give it to somebody else for an upgrade. And that's such an awesome thing to see every time. So I really suggest whenever you guys are doing a dungeon, whether it's, a Mythic Plus or a Heroic or any kind of raid, just give out loot to somebody else, right? You don't need it, right? It's always great to give it to somebody else. We do want to pay... Go ahead. Go ahead.
One of the nicest things that I get often when I'm in runs is I saw somebody with your guild tag and they were so helpful and they did these things, and it's either tag Zeros to Heroes or Death Jesters, and those are great. We had a run that we were doing, and normally now when we go in and do heroics, they're more like speed runs.
Yeah.
And one of the players said, hold on, let me go back and get the mage. And he said, AKA my mom. And so we actually, it went from a speed run to we stopped and we went through and we were much slower. We waited for the mage and she got to actually have a run. We tried to give her some gear. And it was a really nice change actually from the normal speed run just to get it done, to get your essences or whatever, and took a minute and helped a new player who wasn't very familiar with the bosses and went through and killed them with her instead of without her.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a fair point. And, I've been guilty of doing the opposite over the years, I'm sure. I know in the last couple of months I've done at least one where it's okay, let's just speed through things and the one pug is going to catch up or whatever, but we just want to get through things quickly, and sure, we'll make it a quick run for them. But if they're a new player, you're absolutely right. They're not going to experience that fun time. They're just a bunch of, really quick raiders trying to get their thing done. But if you take that extra minute, right, to really make that person's day, like you guys did, right, that person's mom, that mage, right, they got to see the dungeon, they got to have a little bit more fun, a little bit more interaction, and you've built a really good reputation for your guild and for your for your friends as well. So definitely a thing that helps build your community, your reputations, and hopefully that's stuff that is important to you as a guild.
Well, and I know that Blizzard cares about it because they reached out to us for Winter Veil and asked, what sort of things would we be doing for Winter Veil? And with that, they gave some codes. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about some of the plans that we have for about that?
Yeah, so Blizzard reached out to us and said, hey, we have all these codes for mounts and pets and transmog stuff. What would you like to do? Like, what are your plans for Winter Veil? And we'll give you some of these codes. So we said, yeah, for sure. We're totally down with doing this. We're all about community in our podcast and our streams. So we want to do these kinds of things. So one of the first ones we're going to do is the Ice Crown Challenge. We're going to do, little gnome or little Winter Veil raids where everyone needs to be dressed up in their Winter Veil garb. We're going to go kill some bosses and just give away things in game or give them away through the stream chat. Just for people that are watching and partaking in those kinds of things. We're going to be doing another one where we want people to pay it forward. So you'll see a graphic on our Twitter and Facebook where just share a story of you being awesome to somebody else during this Winter Veil season. Right? What did you, that was something nice for somebody else, right? Hey, you know what? I brought one of my friends to an AOTC, right? For them to get their buddy birds. He more than deserved it because he's helped us so much with, with bacon and being such a large part of the community. But what about if it's going to Goldshire and giving some people some bags, right? Helping a noob out. Or what you guys did with that dungeon and that mage, right? That's something really nice. So we want people to share some stories, and then we'll give away prizes that way. And then the final one that we're going to be doing is just a screenshot contest. Go into the game, put on your Winter Veil stuff, go take a selfie with a boss, and you'll be entered in for lots of prizes and mounts and transmog, things like that. So, I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I want to give away these things. Again, the Starting Zone gave away a bunch of them last night too. A lot of our viewers were there and they won transmog pieces, mounts, things like that. So we'll definitely be doing something very similar.
Well, characteristically, it's very quiet in Azeroth, at
Mm-hmm.
least on Storm Rage. So we decided that we were going to sort of do ours the week, after the new toy comes out, because we may want to incorporate some of our
Mm-hmm.
challenges with the new toy. And so you'll be seeing them from Winter Veil, the morning of the Feast of Winter Veil, after we all open our presents in Ironforge. And would you all please help Tally remember, because he still doesn't have a sleigh. And he never makes it to Ironforge. So if you guys would help him remember, I would greatly appreciate it. But you'll start seeing those things, and we'll probably have contests there. And we're also going to highlight the Ice Crayon Challenge with these, because it's for a good cause.
For sure. Just quick little tangent. I just got a text from Rootleaf, one of our old officers from Burning Crusade, and he's still in the guild playing casually. And he and I still send Christmas cards of our families back and forth. But he just sent me a text. Thanks so much for the Christmas present. I love the mug. Very thoughtful of you. Wishing you guys a Merry Christmas. Hope Santa Claus is good to you. Right? Like that, he just sent me a text because he finally got his thing, and like we're just one big family. So I'm really glad that he got it, he liked it, and all that other stuff. So it's good. Anyway, but yeah, you're right. Let's move on to our next little segment here, the Leadership Lounge, right? And you're right. This Winter Veil season is can be pretty quiet, right? So what do you do as a guild? What do you do as a raid team during these things? Oftentimes, well, really, a lot of our raid days, unfortunately, land on some of the holidays, right? Monday is Christmas, is that right? I think it's Monday.
It is Monday.
Yeah, so again, most people are going to be doing things with family, so of course we're not going to be raiding on that day, which is too bad because we're so close to killing Varamathras, which is pretty much a free mythic kill. But yeah, I mean, you should do other things outside of raiding, right? We decided, okay, we're not going to raid that day. Other guilds may have the opportunity of, hey, well, we don't have a lot of family stuff going on within our guild. We're going to raid. We're going to do a bunch of stuff the entire week because all of us are off of school, or we're done exams, or we just have the entire week off. So that's something that's really great for a lot of players. But one thing you might want to do is change up some bosses, do something fun. If you do have that extra break during this little Winter Veil season, maybe go kill Gul'dan for a mount for somebody in your guild. Do some other old bosses or do an achievement run. We've done a couple of those through the guild, and that's always really fun. Getting people their purple charhounds, whatever they're called, or doing some fun raids. Right, we've done a number of them over the years. Even things like fishing raids back in Wrath of the Lich King, trying to get this fishing achievement to level up the guild. But there's always things you can do, and sometimes, like you said, yeah, you need to strike when the iron is hot and get that momentum going and kill those bosses. Other times you just need to recharge your batteries, and this is a good opportunity for a lot of players to, let's take a break from sometimes stressful raiding and do something fun, right? Let's do those RPGs. Let's do some dungeons together. Let's do this Ice Crown Challenge, and do something fun like that, right? It's about balancing those real life responsibilities when running a raid in a guild.
Well, I wish you would talk to my raid lead, because his idea for doing something different if we didn't have enough people to do Mythic was to do Mythic Plus runs.
Fun times. Does he have a whip? Does
I
your
don't know.
raid leader just whip everybody into shape?
He just whips everybody into shape. And of course, Mythic Plus runs are absolutely Midgettes' favorite things to do.
We should do them. I gotta do Karazhan, and we need to get Sparty and Morose still.
I still don't have Morose, but that doesn't mean I want to go do all these Mythic Pluses. And it wasn't a vote. I just want to let you know I'm filing a protest.
Okay. In triplicate, I'm sure.
In triplicate, exactly. So how do you balance real life responsibilities with running these things?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, real life always comes first, no matter what. The other day, Driaz, my wife, wants to go to a garden light show in the evening. I'm like, oh, I got a raid on that Tuesday Boxing Day, the 26th. She's like, oh, you got a raid again? I want to do this thing. You're off for a week. I'm like, okay, what if we go this day, and then we can see Star Wars in the morning, or in the evening rather, and we get to celebrate this entire day together. Like, okay, that works, right? So part of it is just compromise and having an awesome partner that allows you to do some of the hobbies that you enjoy. But again, all of that stuff comes first, right? I am on this podcast doing it today because real life comes first, and I don't want to do it tomorrow when we have Christmas Eve plans and cleaning and cooking and all that other stuff. So, you know, it's a bit of a give and take, but you just have to prioritize what sort of makes you happy. And, you know, for me, it's obviously first my real life family, then my, you know, my second family here in Guild. It's a bit of a tough balance, but, you know, it's a good one. What about you?
Well, my son is working for Christmas, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually doing everything tomorrow, which is another reason we moved forward the podcast. And then Christmas Day, I will actually be being Secret Santa within the guild and getting those all out and
Uh-huh.
doing my touches there. I I sit down at Christmas in Wintervale and remember all of the great memories and times that I've had with this community. And I think that all of us begin and share and start and make what Warcraft is today. And I think it's a good opening for maybe what you might have to share, and that's that the community starts with you.
And that really takes us to our final segment of our Wintervale topic here, which is Sparty's Soapbox, where Sparty rants about something. And I mean, if you've seen my streams, I'm always ranting or complaining about something. But, you know, like Midget says here, the community does start with you. And sometimes I sound like a broken record, but it's who you people are, right? Those are the people that you're going to bring into your guilds, to your communities. If you're, you know, if your group of trolls or kids or meme lords, maybe that's the group that you're going to, you know, keep together and cultivate. But take a minute, right? Help somebody with something in game, right? Oftentimes I miss doing these things. I miss just going to guild or going to stream and saying, hey, does anybody need help with anything at all? Anything at all, even if I'm not familiar with it, whether it's, hey, you need a second person for your 2s or 3s in your arenas or RPGs, or you want help with that, you're doing that stupid Lich King achievement? Yeah, sure, I'll put together a group for you. I'm more than happy to. And that's something fun that I've always enjoyed doing. But when you make somebody's day, right, that makes such a big impact for you and your guild and your community and of course and for them. But a lot of what we do is building those connections with other players, right? Ask how their day is going, saying hello even. You know, oftentimes over the years when, you know, my guild, sometimes morale gets really low, well, I make it a point to tell my leadership team, okay, anytime somebody logs on, you are saying hello to them. Let's just start building those good habits again, right? And before you know it, yeah, the first couple times, like, yeah, okay, hello, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. But then people really get into it, right? And start chatting and you know, they're talking on Mumble or really doing all that community stuff that they should be doing. You know, your communities are based on the environments you create. And sometimes you need to, yes, recorrect that ship because things get off course. But it all comes down to you as a leadership team or you as players. If you players want a better community, whether it be in Warcraft or your guild, well, it does start with you, by your actions, rather than, you know, just your words, but your actions. Make it a better community. Put in the effort, right? I mean, this MMO has been around for so long because the community started by Blizzard has grown and you know, the like-minded people continue to maintain it, right? We've been around, what, for 5 years doing work together? The guild's been around for 13 years. I mean, we don't have room for trolls or patience for that. You know, neither the crayons nor the patience, you know, for those kinds of people. But I mean, if there's toxicity in your guild, well, why, right? You figure it out, nail it down, and again, build that positive community in your guild, in your teams, whatever it is, in your little guild families, in your RP guilds, your raiding guilds. Continue cultivating those positive efforts, those positive thoughts, and those positive actions, you know, through the Wintervale season and going forward into the next year.
Well, and that's why we're going to continue to focus on the season of giving and paying it forward. What are we going to do for next week?
For next week, well, I mean, we have the last podcast of the year, which will be episode 10. I can't believe we've gone through 10 episodes already. The time is flying. That's crazy. It's awesome, right? We start off right before BlizzCon, and now here we are, episode 10 next week. So we'll be going through, you know, New Year's resolutions, what we want to see for next year, those kinds of things. Maybe a bit of a recap of what we liked and what we didn't like so much in Legion, you know, whether it's some of the artifact power stuff or legendaries or Titan forging. We'll talk about some of those things and going forward into the next year, what we want to see as well. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to try something different and do a top 10 list of things that we would like to see from Warcraft devs.
Yes.
So I hope we're going to get some suggestions on Twitter or Facebook to help us build this top 10 list.
Fantastic. So we'll do a couple of giveaways just after our podcast here, and we'll do a couple for those of you that are listening through email, through Twitter. Make sure you check our Twitter and Facebooks, both at Sparty Smallwood, to partake in some of our events, because we do have a number of mounts, pets, transmog things to give away. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Midgets, for another fantastic episode full of awesome content. Much appreciated. And yeah, we will see you guys next week for our 10th episode of this Best in Slot podcast. Thank you.
Happy Winter Veil, everyone.